How did Aegon conquer Westeros? Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon I, or shall we say, Aegon the Conqueror and Aegon the Dragon, became the first king of the Andals the Rhoynar and the first men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and protector of the realm. During the invasion, he conquered 6 of the 7 kingdoms. The dragonlord was not the first Targaryen but the founder of the first ruling dynasty, that is, the Targaryen dynasty. An extraordinary military commander and Lord of Dragonstone, before his conquest, Aegon I showed the world what it meant to rule. He conquered and unified 6 of Westeros' 7 kingdoms in the War of Conquest with his 2 sister wives, Visenya and Rhaenys, a small army, and 3 great dragons. In this video, we will explore the winged leader's personality, his history of conquest, and the years of his reign. Let's get this ride started, shall we? The Great Conquest. Aegon's curiosity about Westeros grew as the century of blood came to a close. He'd been to the citadel of Old Town and the Arbor in the Kingdom of the Reach with his elder sister Visenya, and he may have also gone to Lannisport in the Kingdom of the Rock. He had a massive wooden table made in the shape of Westeros, with a map of the 7 kingdoms embellished on the exterior. However, no borders were decided to paint on the painted table because Aegon did believe it should be 1 nation rather than 7. Argilac Durrandon, the Storm King, approached Aegon and proposed a union between Aegon and his only daughter, Princess Argella. The lands east of the God's Eye, from the Trident to the Blackwater Rush, were provided as dowry, despite the fact that they did not belong to Argilac. His offer was an attempt to establish some distance between his kingdom and that of Harrenhal, king of the Isles and the Rivers. Aegon turned down the proposal, claiming he didn't need a 3rd wife, and instead proposed his close friend and rumored bastard half-brother, Orys Baratheon, as Argella's spouse in exchange for lands. Angered, Argilac severed Aegon's envoys' hands and returned them to Dragonstone, prompting Aegon to summon his counselors. After 6 days of contemplation, Aegon dispatched ravens to every lord in Westeros, announcing his claim to the throne. One by one, the Targaryen army, along with Aegon's sister wives Rhaenys and Visenya, captured 6 out of 7 kingdoms of Westeros, except Dorne. In the 3rd year after his conquest, Aegon turned his attention to Dorne again, deciding to bring Dorne under his kingdom through diplomacy, but changed his plans after a year of no response. After being crowned the king, Aegon launched a new invasion in 4 AC, extending what is called the Wars of Conquest. Though the invasion of Dorne appeared to be successful at first, it quickly unraveled, and the First Dornish War lasted 9 years, with many mortalities and travesties, the first of which was the capture and mutilation of his loyal friend and Hand of the King, Lord Orys Baratheon. Once released, Lord Baratheon came back to the King's Landing missing his sword hand along with his men. In revenge for his friend, Aegon released his dragons to burn Dorne. Later, he lost the love of his life Rhaenys Targaryen as she fell from her dragon after it got shot. Aegon's rage knew no bounds, and he, along with Visenya, set on a mad path to end the Dorne once and for all. Aegon was attacked several times, leading Visenya to choose and form a guard of capable men known as Kingsguard, who would swear their lives and swords to protect the king. The conquest lasted till 13 AC and ended with Dorne bending the knee to Aegon's rule and making him the ultimate ruler of the 7 kingdoms, earning his title Aegon the Conqueror. Years after the conquest, Aegon chose King's Landing, the new colony rising around the Aegon fort, as his seat of government instead of Old Town or Dragonstone. He also forged the swords of his former enemies into the Iron Throne. Aegon also established the Small Council, as well as the post of Hand of the King, with Lord Orys Baratheon serving as his first hand. The King's Peace was Aegon's first established law, which forbade dispute in the realm without the permission of the Iron Throne. Aegon regarded the defeated lords with dignity, allowing each region to keep its own laws and traditions and the lords to keep both the entitlement of pit and gallows, as well as the right of the first night, a horrific Westerosi tradition that allowed lords to take new brides for themselves on the wedding night. Aegon frequently journeyed the kingdom with 6 maesters who trained him on the social norms and heritage of each region. Following his coronation at Old Town, King Aegon directed Lord Torrent Stark, the new Warden of the North, to put an end to all the rebellions, and he dispatched Queen Visenya Targaryen to join the Northern Army led by Sir Warwick Manderly. Aegon turned his focus to the Iron Islands, where Ironborn had been waging war for the throne for the past 2 years. Aegon decided to land on Great White with Balerion to cope with the challenges. Aegon killed Corrin Volmark with black fire, while the priest King Lodos drowned himself in the sea. The other competitors quickly bowed their knees. Aegon overlooked suggestions to make the Ironborn vassals of the Tullys of River Run or the Lannisters of Casterly Rock, as well as to annihilate the Ironborn with Dragon Flame. Rather, Aegon granted the Ironborn the right to choose their own lord, and Viken Greyjoy became the first Lord of the Iron Islands. Check out the link in description for the coolest House of the Dragon merch. How was he as a man? Aegon Targaryen was a tall and mighty man, with broad shoulders, purple eyes, and short silver-gold hair. He embodied charisma and authority. During his conquest, he typically fought wearing a coat of black scales while wielding black fire, a sword made of Valyrian steel, which later became the Sword of Kings. His crown was a simple Valyrian steel circlet set with square-shaped rubies. Even his peers thought Aegon was a mystery and a loner whose only companion was Orys Baratheon, widely assumed to be his bastard half-brother. Additionally, the king was a great warrior who never participated in tourneys and only rode his dragon, Balerion, for battle or travel. Aegon stayed faithful to his sisters, leaving governance in their hands and taking command only when required. While he was tough on those who dared to defy him, he was compassionate to those who bent the knee. Aegon the Conqueror was a pragmatic ruler. He ruled with caution and tried to have peace in the kingdom. Although not mentioned in the book, House of the Dragon seems to say that Aegon was a dreamer, much like Daenerys the Dreamer. According to the show, he saw a dream according to which only a Targaryen sitting on the Iron Throne would be able to save the 7 kingdoms from death and darkness that would arise from far north. Aegon never shared his burden with anyone other than his named heir and believed a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne when the White Walkers came for mankind. Viserys mentions his dream to Rhaenyra at the end of Episode 1 of House of the Dragon.
And just as Daenerys foresaw the end of Valyria, Aegon foresaw the end of the world of men.
This dream has ruled the lives of Targaryen rulers and has become Aegon's legacy. But, of course, Rhaenyra probably did not convey the message to Aegon III, and in all probability, Aegon's dream was lost in the Dance of Dragons. Aegon's tryst with his family. Lord Aerion Targaryen and Lady Valena Valerian had Aegon on Dragonstone in 27 BC. Aegon married within the family, according to Valyrian and Targaryen tradition. However, instead of taking only one sister as a wife, as was customary, he married both Visenya and Rhaenys. He is said to have married his elder sister Visenya out of obligation to safeguard his inheritance and married Rhaenys out of love and desire. Before his marriage, Aegon claimed the dragon Balerion the Black Dread, the mighty dragon that breathed black flames. Aegon, now the Lord of Dragonstone, flew to Pentos astride Balerion to meet with the Prince of Pentos, and the city's magisters when Pentos and Tyrosh requested his assistance in their conflict against Volantis. Aegon then flew to Lys, destroyed a Volantine fleet before it could penetrate the city, and returned to Dragonstone not long after. Death. The remainder of 24 years of Aegon's reign was peaceful, so much so that the Maesters of the Citadel dubbed the last 2 decades of his rule the Dragon's Peace. The royal progresses continued after Aegon celebrated his 65th name day in 33 AC, but were now made by his son Aenys and his wife Alyssa, while the aging king stayed at home. Aegon relocated his family and jury to Dragonstone while directing the construction of what would later be known as the Red Keep, However, this construction would be finished by Maegor the Cruel, Aegon's younger son. Visenya was tasked with overseeing the construction of the Red Keep. Since the Iron Throne was too heavy to move, it remained at the construction site instead of Dragonstone. Aegon completed his final journey through Westeros in 33 AC, during which he toured Winterfell. Following that, Prince Aenys and his wife Alyssa made progress in Aegon's place. Aegon died of natural causes in 37 AC on Dragonstone while telling his two eldest grandsons, Aegon and Viserys, the tales of his invasion at the Painted Table. King Aegon was laid to rest on Dragonstone, and Vhagar set fire to his funeral pyre, along with his sword Blackfire. But Maegor the Cruel later rescued it from the pyre. Even though Aegon's ascendancy had been mostly peaceful, many of his subjects wished to return to the days when there were still 7 separate kingdoms. Others wished retribution for the deaths of their loved ones in wars, while still others regarded the Targaryens as abominations. That was all for this video. Do hang around for more film and pop culture content. How do you think Aegon's dream of Song of Ice and Fire will pass down after Dance of the Dragons, since no one knew about it in Game of Thrones? Do tell us your thoughts in the comments down below. Check out the link in description for the coolest House of the Dragon merch.